Hi everyone and welcome back to the Multiverse of 100 plus data science project series. In this video, I'm going to be discussing about the hard disease predictions using Python and machine learning. So बिना किसी देर के हर महादेव बोल के start करते हैं tutorial. In order to building the hard disease predictions, you're going to be using a dataset called hard.csv. Don't worry about this CSV file. You can get this CSV file inside my GitHub repository. So now what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to load the dataset inside my Jupyter notebook and also try to do the coding part here. For the coding part, I am going to using here the Jupyter notebook. You can also use the VS Code or Python itself. So first thing first, I'm going to importing here some necessary library like NumPy, Pandas, the Matplotlib, and also scikit-learn. So for that, first I'm going to import here the Pandas SPD. Then I'm going to import here the NumPy SNP. Then simply I'm going to load the dataset from my directory. So make sure that your dataset should be in the same folder. You can see here, this is my working directory. And inside that, you can see here the hard.csv. So now what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to load it here. So in order to loading the CSV file, I'm going to using here the pd.readcsv. So that's a pd.readcsv. You can also using here the tab from the Jupyter notebook or from the keyboard, not actually. And using that, you can actually do some auto suggestions or the recommendations based on your Python program or the method. Now what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to pass here my dataset path. So my dataset path is nothing but called the hard.csv like that. Now I'm going to store it inside my variable, let's say called data, and our dataset is loaded. That's called data equal to pd.readcsv, and I'm going to pass here my hard.csv. Well, that's fine. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to checking for value. Let's say how the dataset look like, and you can see here this is nothing but my dataset. And inside my dataset, it having some particular columns like age, sex, CP, test BPS, all of the columns. And now you can see here let's have another column that's called the target column. So target column actually help us to do the predictions. So that's mean this is nothing but one classification task. That's not a regression task. Okay. Now we assume that this is one classification task and also an supervised machine learning algorithm. So we can choose one supervised types of machine learning algorithms and also the classification types, right? Now what I'm going to do, I'm simply going to checking for the tail also, so that you can check the last some columns about the data. So let's say data.tail like that. And now you can see here, you can also see the columns regarding your tail, data.tail. Now let's checking about the information regarding the data. So for that, you're going to using here data.info. Simple, that's the basics, data.info. So data.info actually help you to see the your informations regarding your data set. And you can see here in my data set, it having 13 columns. And you can see here age, the sex, the CP, the trash BPS, also having the count of that. Is there any missing value or not? And also you can see the data type. You can see integer, all the integers. And just one of them is called float. So we do need to handle all the data because all the data in a numerical format. So if there any categorical format data, we need to also handle it out. So you can also check that the shape of the data. Let's say data.shape. So in that shape, you can see here it having the 303 row, and you can have the 14 columns. 14 columns is started from 0 index, so that's why it's showing the 14. So 0 to 30 columns, right? So inside that, you can see here target is nothing but my target class, right? And all of them is called the features column. All of them is called the feature columns. Now let's checking the distribution of the data. You can also check the distribution of the data, and to do that, you can see use here the data.describe. So it will actually give you the description regarding your data set. Okay, data.describe. Okay, describe. Okay, that's it. And you can see here, this is nothing but the description regarding my data set. And you can see it having the count, the mean, the standard deviations, the minimum value, 25% percentile, 50% percentile, 75% percentile, and also the maximum number of values. So you can see here all the values, I mean all the columns are nothing but numerical. So that's why it will show me all the columns, right? That's mean the describe function is working on numerical column, not the categorical column. Okay. So when you have all the columns are numericals, so you can use the data.describe and just describing the data set, the count, mean, the standard deviations, minimum, maximum, and all of them. Now let's checking for the null value. Is there any null value or not? And we already checked this out using my data.info, but we see that there is nothing null value because it having the 303 columns that you actually see earlier. So you can also do it another technique that's called the data.isNull.sum. Okay, I go quite speed because this is the basics one. We already discussed about this in our Panda series also. You can see here age, sex, CP, all of them had 000. That's mean there is nothing null value, and all of the value are straightforward integer. We don't need to handle it out. We don't need to handle our missing value. We don't need to actually handling our categorical value. So that's really fine. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to checking for value count of the target. I mean, how many values are available inside my target class. So to do that, I can using here my data, and I'm going to pass here my target. So let's call target, and now simply I'm going to using here the value counts. So you can see value counts. I can use here tab, so it's not all to suggest me. That's mean it has some problem, but it give me the auto suggestions, right? So shift enter, you can see here it having the 1 is 165 and 0 is a 138. That means this data is not imbalance. Data imbalance. Okay, so data is not imbalance. Okay, I mean the percentage of the data, I mean the class is quite 50-50. So that's means data is not okay, it's not imbalance. So if the data is imbalanced, you need to handle it out, like call up sampling or the down sampling. So when you go to the deeper of the series, like credit card fraud detections, you can do handle that. How can you handle the imbalanced data set also? So this is not an imbalanced data set. Okay, so it having the 1 and the 0. That's when we have the two classes. So 1 means it's nothing but 1 is nothing but it is heart is diseases. I mean, you can say the defective heart, and 0 means no, it's healthy. Okay, so you can say healthy, like that, healthy heart. प्यार के लिए बहुत जरूरत है ना. Okay, fine. So let's go on here, mark down and try to using here. So 1 means the defective heart and 0 means the healthy heart. Okay, now this is nothing but on classification task, right? So when you're trying to classify it, first thing first, you need to also split your data into the training, test, and split, right? So for that, what I can do is simply going to import it from sklearn. Let's say from sklearn and dot feature selections. You're going to importing here the train, test, and split. So let's say feature selections, feature selection. Here is it. Okay, aja. Tap nahi aata. Okay, feature selection. Okay, feature selection or feature extraction. Feature selections, because we select the feature here. Okay, import the train, test, and split. ट्रेन टेस्ट स्प्लिट नहीं आ रहा है, ट्रेन टेस्ट स्प्लिट, वो शायद बीसली भी चला गया इसलिए. Okay, train test and split. Okay, let's run it out now. So cannot import the train test and split from sklearn dot feature selection. Oh my god, it's not it's model selection. Okay, sorry, model selections. Okay, from sklearn dot model selections, you can importing here the train test split. Sorry for that, because my electricity was gone, so that's why यहाँ से थोड़ा छोड़ गया. Okay, from sklearn dot model selection, you can importing here the train, test, and split. And we can also import our accuracy score also. So let's say from sklearn, because we need it, sklearn dot, let's try to also import here my model also. Let's say linear model, and let's say model, I'm going to import here the, let's say linear regression, linear iskute, or you can using here the logistic regression also. So let's say logistic regression is करते हैं यहाँ पर. You can also using the decision tree classifier 2 or SBC2. It's your homework. Let's say from sklearn dot matrix. So accuracy matrix को भी यहाँ पर import कर लेते हैं, so that we can checking for the accuracy. So accuracy score. Okay, accuracy score is give me the auto suggestions. So let's load it out now. So you can see here we import here the train, test, and split, and also importing here our machine learning model that's called the logistic regression. So now what I can do, you're going to divide our data into the train, test, split. But before that, I need to also divide in the x and the y features. I mean the dependent and independent features. So for that, you're taking two variables, x and y. And inside x, I'm going to taking the data dot drop. Which kind of drop? Y drop by. देखो यहाँ पर, देखो target is nothing but my y class, right? So target is nothing but y class. So let's say data, इसका अंदर मैं दूंगा target. So target दे दो भाई यहाँ पर, target दे दिया यहाँ पर. Now accept target, all of the column are my x features. I mean independent features. So for that, what I can do, accept the target column. We can let's say column, accept the target column. We are going to taking all of them. So let's say target. So in which axis? Axis should be the one, because in the form the columns you're going to delete all of them. So that's when it also gives you this axis. So now let's shift enter. and try to checking for the x. So you can see here x is nothing but is accept target. And if I checking for y, so let's y का check करते, y को small में है, देखो, this is nothing but my target class. Now we divide our data set in the x and y. Now what I can do is simply going to pass it inside my train, test, and split. So let's take some shell. Okay, fine. So now what I can do, I'm going to use here x train. हो भाई x train, इसका बाद होगा x test, इसका बाद दे दो y train. ओके y train दे दो, इसका बाद दे दो y test, इसका बाद इसका train split का अंदर दे दो. Then let's give here pass here x and y. Then let's give here the test size. So see, when you try to building one machine learning model, your test size should be the 20% and the training size should be the 80%. I mean, you have to divide the data set into 80 into 20. Okay, so let's say 20%, so 0.2. You can pass here 0.20 also. And let's making here a random state. So random state data here, that's a random, so that it not changes yet. Okay, you can also give here, the stratified also. You can also give it based on your data set. Okay, it in our case stratify nothing but the y columns. So let's give it out. Simple. Stratify. That's the y columns. So that's it. So that it not change it when you're trying to run the code again and again. Okay. So x train, x test, y train, y test, and pass it inside my train test and split. Now what I can do, I'm going to checking for the shape of the x train. So let's say x train का shape क्या है भाई? Shape दे दो. Shape is 242 and 13 columns. Why? Except the target column, right? Now what I can do, I'm simply going to create my model. You can also checking for the y train also. Y train is y train बना दो, यहाँ पर जाओ. So you can see here just it having the columns, all the columns. Okay, this is how you can checking for the x train, x test, and y train also the shape of the data. Now I'm going to building my model. So let's say model equal to logistic regressions. You can also using here the decision tree classifier. It's your job to do, just homework. Okay, now what I can do, I'm simply going to feed my data inside my model. So that's why I'm going to using here model.feed, and I'm going to pass here my x train, x train, x train, x train, and the y train. Okay, y train, because when you're trying to pass it inside my model.feed, make sure your data should be in the training mode, right? To training karenge using logistic regression, then you can test it out, right? Test it out on the new data. This is my scene data. So when you're trying to print the accuracy, then you can also using here. You can also when you evaluate your model, you can also using here testing data set. Now let's checking for the accuracy. What kind of accuracy they actually got? So let's say predictions. So prediction equal to model dot predict, and you can using here our x train. Let's use here x train now. You can also using here the x test also. Okay, let's try to first checking for the training data also, predictions for x train. Let's try this out for training accuracy and also the x train predictions and the y train predictions accuracy for the x training for the scene data and the unseen data. Then you can check this out. So for that, what you can do, we can simply using here the word accuracy score that is actually already imported, and I'm going to pass here my x train, predictions, I mean this one, x train prediction, and let's checking for the y train. That's it. Okay, check करते हैं prediction हुआ क्या. Okay, this is nothing but training data accuracy, training data accuracy, like that. Okay, so if I'm trying to print it out, so what I can do, I simply run this shell, and if I checking for this training data accuracy, and you can see here 85%. This is nothing but my training data accuracy. This is nothing but training data accuracy. Training data accuracy. So this is completed scene data. In scene data, it is working 85%, right? 85%. So let's checking for the unseen data. Which one is the X test? They already divide it here. X test and the Y test one. So for that, what I can do is simply going to copy this out, and I'm going to paste it here. Let's make this train to be the test. Let's copy this out and copy this out. Let's making this Y train to the Y test, because this is the testing data. And also let's making this Y train to the Y test. Okay, let's see, this is my training data accuracy, and this should be the test data accuracy. That's it. Let's try to copy this out and let's paste it out. In unseen data, it will working 80%. Okay, 81%. So it give me the 81% on the testing data, right? In the training data, it will give me the accuracy 85%. Which one is okay? Fine, that's fine. More than 80%. And in the testing data, it will give me the 81% accuracy. Okay, that's really fine. You can also using here. It's your homework. Okay, your homework is to use some algorithm like decision tree. Let's make it DT, and let's say random forest RF. Then you need to using here the SBC. SBC. It's your task to do that. It's your homework, right? To building this model and try to checking for that which one is good. Better if you have idea about the ensemble, you can also do the ensembling. Ensemble is nothing but call. You can actually collect three machine learning algorithm, try to combine it. Okay, combine it, right? You can combine it three also. After combining that, you can get here some accuracy. Okay, I need to go deeper. We should understand this thing. How can you do the ensembling? I mean, uh, joining some more two or three multiple number of machine learning algorithm. Okay, so now let's try to building a predictive model. So that we can do the predictions. So that's a predictive model. Predictive model. Let's try to do that. Let's try to build it. So for that, what I need to do? We need to load some data. This is my input data. Let's call input data. So input data. Let's take some input data from my data set. So let's go on the data set. Okay, just go on here. Hard.csv. Let's taking one data set. Let's call this one. Okay, copy this out and let's paste it here. The input data. This is not one of my input data. Now what I can do? I'm simply going to pass it inside my NumPy array so that it converted into NumPy array, because you're going to pass it inside my machine learning model. So that's why. So let's say np.sArray. Then I'm going to passing here my input data. Okay, that's it, input data. Now let's say this is nothing but my df array. Okay, fine. Now what I'm going to do? I'm simply going to reshape it. I'm going to reshape it because I'm going to pass it in my model. So that's why it also do the reshape. So for that, what I can do, I am simply going to copy this df array and I'm going to simply reshape it. That's a 1 comma minus 1 in one single vector. Now this is my input data reshaped. So let's say reshaped, shaped. Okay, reshaped data, or you can say reshaped data. Okay, fine. So now after that, I'm going to pass it inside my model. So let's say model.predict. शायद मेरा वॉइस थोड़ा लो आएगा क्योंकि व्हेन आई डू द कोडिंग पार्ट माइक्रोफोन थोड़ा डिस्टेंस पे है इसलिए. Okay, now I'm going to pass here my reshape data. So let's copy this out. Reshape data. Let's pass it here. This is my predictions. Okay, prediction. Okay, predictions. That's fine. So if the predictions is already see that if the prediction is one, is defective hurt disease, otherwise it should be the healthy disease. Okay, so for that, what I can do? Let's try to run it out. And if I checking for the predictions, it give me the one. Okay, that's really fine working. So inside one list, if I try to extract the value from here, I need to give you the index number. So let's give you the index number. Okay, we got one. Okay, so that's mean if the predictions of 0 is equal to 1, that's mean it's defective heart disease. And let's say this person, the person is affected. Okay, let's make it defective. Oh my god, which one is this one? Defective heart disease. Let's say affected by heart disease, like that. Okay, affected. Okay, that's otherwise we're going to say that it is healthy. Otherwise, print don't worry, patient is okay. Okay, don't worry, healthy. Oh sorry, because electricity chala gaya na isliye. typing become problem हो रही है. Okay, the problem shift enter you can see affected by defective heart disease. Okay, if I go on the data set again, and you can see this is the data, and you already check this out. One target is really working fine. Okay, so this is how you can actually building one machine learning model in order to predict the heart disease. So it's you have also another homework. You need to build on Streamlit application, Streamlit application is your homework. Okay, that how can you take some input from the users and try to building one application using Streamlit and try to do the comment. Okay, that you are trying to building the Streamlit applications. But when you go the deeper, you'll actually discussing about that how can you build on Streamlit applications and also the Flux applications, even they should be in Django. Okay, so that's it for today. Now hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and make sure to subscribe to the channels and don't forget to hit the bell icon. So also share with your friends, your family members, even your boyfriend and girlfriend, you can share with them. So thank you and bye bye.